take a minute to just do a check-in. Then we'll start. We'll get going. Just a few minutes. Cool. Yay. Cool. All right. Just sitting up straight and letting your shoulders fall down and back. And imagining there's a little balloon tied to the top, kind of toward the back of your head, just lifting up a little bit and decompressing your neck. Noticing the sensation of your hands. Can you make out each finger? Just using your mind and the sensation as a guide. Find yourself drifting away because you're lost in thought or distracted by anything at all, just come on back and be a scientist about the shape of your hands. Based on the feeling alone, can you actually make out each finger? Of course, you're placing an image there that you have of your hands, but if you didn't have that, what do your fingers feel like? Give your fingers a little wiggle. Can you notice that without opening your eyes? What does that motion feel like when you wiggle those fingers? How do you wiggle your fingers? What are you doing to wiggle them? Alrighty, yay, 2 more people. It's looking slim in here. I have something for you. We're gonna talk about Euler's method today. We need this worksheet. Will you see for me or no? I can just follow this. Probably not. So well. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me grab a pen. Oh, and let me grab my lecture. Just wrote down a few problems that I thought would be good to go through. So I wrote back when I was a grad student, like very first time as a grad student, I was like 22 or something like that. I was a real hippie back then. I had like hair down to here, really shitty hair down to here, just all fried on the ends, and just, you know, wore jeans that were shredded and didn't care at all. I look very professional these days relative to those old days. And I wrote one day. I wrote my lecture on an envelope on the back. I just wrote the notes, and someone complained to the chair of the department about my casual nature, and that was one of the examples they wrote, that I had written my lecture on an envelope. So here, in your face, if you're watching this, I'm still doing it. So let's take a look. Oh, exam 2. Let's talk about that really quick. I kind of changed my mind on this, and I think in a way that will make you happy. We're not going to have like an in-class part for it. So there won't be a part where you have to like come in and be under stress and answer a bunch of questions. So what I'm going to do next Wednesday is give you a take-home exam, and it will be due at the end of class on Friday. But we will spend Wednesday and Friday consulting and working on it. So you probably have some time, you might want to allocate some time on Thursday to work on that exam, or Wednesday night, or whatever it is you need to do to allocate your time. That could all change too, but right now I think I'd like to do it that way. Otherwise it just gets unmanageable, right? Like if I just give you too much time, first off, you're gonna wait. If I gave you a week, everybody's gonna wait till the last 2 days anyway to do it. So let's just do it in 2 days and just be done with it. And yeah, I think that'll just work well for everybody. And we're still, at this point, I think, planning on having Halloween break for us all in here. So I don't know if you caught that conversation or not.
Not really. It was hard to hear you in the video.
Was it?
Yeah. Like, I was full volume and I'm like,
wow, that's
yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I'll have to do some sort of audio, because usually it's not.
Yeah. Like usually I can hear you pretty well, but like this time I was struggling to hear you.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
So what's happening?
We're gonna take a mental health day.
Monday?
The 31st. Yeah. Not official yet, but it's looking incredibly likely.
Okay.
I haven't told any of my other classes about it, because it might just happen for you all and not everybody else. Because my other classes meet like only twice a week, and then we miss one, and we've missed half our week. So, cool. So yeah, I'll give you more info about this in the next week. But it's going to be pure take home, or over a couple days. And I might have to write a couple versions of it. I might even like make a version for everybody. That gets a little intense for me, but it just alleviates any worries at all. Not that I don't trust y'all, but it's just like good to like remove the chance that there could ever be a doubt at all. So we were talking about differential equations, and when you hear people say diffie-q, that's what they're talking about. So now I can finally just call it diffie-q, diffie-q class. I want to take a look at a very specific one, and this is y prime. And so, Kelby, hopefully I'll answer a question about that problem by talking about this one.
Okay.
So I think this will help with that. Equals x plus 2y, and then we have an initial condition, y at 0 equals 1. So we are looking, let's talk about what do we want here? What does this mean? I seek a function, y, that depends on x. The first derivative of y is related to the actual function y itself. It's twice this formula, and I have to add an extra x to it. So I'm looking at this and just kind of this, like almost reading it. Like if I had to read this and understand conceptually, what is this asking me for? It's asking me for this y of x function right here. And I want a specific version so that when x is 0, the output is 1. So we could go through and fill the plane with slopes for each xy point. So let's just remember this. I could get this direction field, or slope field. This is the same thing, where I use this as the tangent slope. And this is the formula for the tangent slope at the point xy. So, for example,
So let's talk about slopes. You could just even think of this as M. At the point 0, 1, which is our initial condition, at 0, 1, the slope, M, is equal to the x coordinate plus twice the y coordinate. So here, this formula is coming from y prime equals x plus 2y. So the slope is 2 right off the bat. So we have a slope of 2. And that's the tangent to the curve that I'm looking for. So now the method we're going to talk about today is how the programs we've been looking at, if you were to click there, it would produce some kind of curve in the plane instantly. And we're going to talk about how the computer actually produces those curves. And the way that happens is something related to what's called Euler's method. It probably uses something a little fancier. This is like the most basic way of doing this finding of solution curves. There's more advanced ways, but this is the most primal algorithm for doing this. So this is an algorithm for estimating solution curves to initial value problems. In differential equations. And I'm going to walk it through, and then we'll make it nice and formal, and then we're going to practice a bunch with the handout that I've given you there. So, first thing we need is a resolution of our solution. So we're just like with integration, you know, where we cut things up into little pieces. Here we want to cut things up into little pieces, and the smaller they are, the more accurate they will be. Now, we're not going to go let the limit. We're not going to let the limit go to infinity or to 0 inside of the cuts or anything like that. But the first thing we need to do is establish a resolution for our solutions. So establish a resolution / precision for our estimate. And basically that's going to be me cutting this input, this independent variable axis, up into a number of points. So let's do this one and say that this is 1 and this is 0.5, and I've cut this up into quarters. So for our example here, let's say our delta x is 0.25. So I'm cutting the x-axis into 0.25 as my smallest resolution. What I want to do is estimate where the next point on the solution curve would be right at 0.25. So where on this line would this curve be headed? So what we do, it's really simple. It's point slope form for lines, essentially, just repeated over and over again. So let's take a look at this. Our initial point, I'll write this all out. Our initial point is x sub 0 equals 0 and y sub 0 equals 1. That's 0.01 where we start. This is our initial condition. Our initial slope is, let's call this f of xy. So I've got this, my equation kind of looks like this. The slope is given, is given by this formula at any particular point. So our initial slope is f at x0, y0, which is f at 0, 1. And now I'm going to use this function. F of xy here is just x plus 2y. take the x coordinate plus twice the y coordinate. So it's 0 plus 2 times 1 equals 2. That's my initial slope. And I'm going to travel at that slope for 1/4 of a unit. So now basically, I'm going to find the equation of the line here through this point with slope 2 and follow that line. And wherever I'm at when x is 0.25 is going to be my next point in my estimate. So I'm kind of taking the solution curve and turning it into line segments as I go through. Okay, so what's the equation of that line? The equation of, let's just put this up here so you can kind of see it, of a line through x naught, y naught with slope m is, and I'm going to use point slope form, which you should know. You've used it a lot in calc, you used it a lot in calc 1. We haven't done a lot with it this semester. But the equation is this: y equals m times x minus x naught plus y naught.
Why not?
Exactly. Agreed. Why not? Because it's calculus and it's Friday. And we're partying down with some div and q. So. This right here is just your change in x. Really. Right? It's how much the x coordinate, your new x coordinate is, how much it differs from your old x coordinate. So we could just rewrite this like this. This is y equals, I'm going to change the order, my existing y coordinate plus my slope times my change in x. And that'll tell me where my next y is. This is delta x right here. And this will be the y coordinate that I'm interested in. So let me stop for a second. Is this making some sense? I'm seeing some definite nods, lots of nods, lots of nods. All right. A consensus of nods. Perfect. So for us, we're going to call this is our next y. And we'll call it y sub 1. And that's equal to y naught plus m times delta x. So our y1, our next y, is equal to our current y1 plus our current slope times delta x, 0.25. So that's 1.5. So my estimate for where the solution curve would be when x is 0.25 is, whoa, wait. Yeah, okay, this 2 scared me. That's right, there we go, that's just 1. The slope is 2, m equals 2. So this is 1.5. So check this out. Let's write over here our points on the solution. So we have, let's see, so we have an x sub I and a y sub I, and then, yeah, that's, and then our, how about we put here, I'm just trying to think of the table that I have there. And, yeah, so let's just put here y sub I plus 1. Kind of like that. So hopefully this will make sense. This might be a little confusing. If it is, just let me know. So my initial x, and here this will help. Here's my I. Sorry, let's get that out of there. So now I got a little table. Here's my I value. When I is 0, that's my initial stuff. And that was 0, 1. And the next y was 1.5. There we go. So this is like your next y. This is your current y. There we go. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a little, not maybe. Cassie, you cool with that? Yeah. make sure everybody's following me. So, now, when I equals 1, my x goes to what? What do you think my new x coordinate is?
1.
Nope.
0.
Nope, that was my first x coordinate. So look at where I'm at. What is the x coordinate at that point I'm at now?
Oh,
0.25, right? So the x coordinate's gonna just tick like a clock. The x coordinate's gonna always increase by delta x. So my next x coordinate, so this is x0 right here. Here's x1. This will be x2, this will be x3, and this will be x4. So x1 is 0.25, just delta x plus that original x, that old x value, and then my y sub I value, I'm just gonna copy that down to here, it's 1.5. And now I can compute my new slope. So now I'm gonna use this point to find my slope. So let's do that. What is the next slope? Or what is the slope from here? Can you just please find that to make sure you're with me? So what is my slope at this point using that formula? You might be able to do it in your head. That's what Kitra's doing, I think. Trying, yeah, that's cool, that's good. Strengthen the head. Let's see, my friends who came in a little late. Oh, I did that after you came in. Okay, all right, cool. Thanks, Cassie. I'm gonna hire you as my manager. Seem like you'd be good at that. So let's get rid of this. Got all the information over there. What is that slope? We get 2? Is that 2? Okay, cool. So let's go through how to get that. So I think that sounds right to me. So this is equal to f of, now look at that function, 0.25 comma 1.5. Oh wait, 2. I thought it was 3.25 is what I was thinking. So let's talk about, I think we need to talk about this. So everybody agree that this is my current x and y values? Yeah, so there's my formula, it's x plus 2y. So this is the x coordinate plus twice the y coordinate. And that's actually 3.25. So this is my current slope. It's super steep, actually. So right here, I'm gonna shoot up. If this was 2, then it's like gotten much steeper. I'm gonna travel at that slope until 0.5, my next. So here, m is 3.5. All right, so folks who said 2, does this make sense? Yeah? Okay, cool. I need new glasses because you're all double. That's twice as much work for me, so let's cut the number in half. There we go. All right, so here's my formula. My y sub 2 equals my current y plus the slope, my current slope. Let's actually just write it like that, current slope times delta x. And so that's equal to y1 plus current slope of 3.25 times my constant delta x of 0.25. Now it's starting to get a little hairy number-wise. So let's see, wait, what was y1? Y1 was 1.5. And then what is this number here? What's a quarter? What's half of 1? Oh, shit, I don't know what any of this is. Can somebody take a quarter of 0.8?
125.
125, thank you. Great. So my next y coordinate is 2.3125. So following the slope up, And now it's, wait, what did I say my slope was? Oh, that's this point right here, yay. Thought things were getting out of control. So this point right here is 2.3125. And I could repeat this process again. Let's just go through it one more time. Can you tell me what is the next output point? What is the next y coordinate? And like really understand what's happening. And if you do, this will become really easy. This is a very simple algorithm. You just have to understand what it is we're doing. I'm gonna run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Oh, I should have put my stuff up here. So my I equals 2. And then we have, we're at 0.5, 2.3, 125. We're going to find our next y. So my next y, y sub. Did I not write? Oh, yeah, 2. My next y is actually equal to y2, and it's going to equal my current y plus my current slope. And that's actually really all you're ever doing here is figuring out what your new slope is and then keeping track of where you're at. That's all there is to this. So this is going to be m current. I'll just write this all up, and then times delta x. So this is equal to 2.3125. Probably your biggest pain here was adding whatever decimals and figuring that stuff all out. So M current, I'm gonna do that work right here, is equal to F at my current location of, so here is where I'm at. You don't get confused with where you wanna be. We're currently at 0.5, 2.3125. I don't know why that number seems so hard to say. So that's the X coordinate plus twice the Y coordinate. And God, I hope somebody did some calculator work while I was gone. Anybody got a number for us here? 4.8, what was it? That sounds, it sounds a little low. I think we should be hitting 5. Yeah, so let's go through and work this through together. So, what is twice 2.3125? It's 4.6, yes, thank you. So like that. So then when I add those two together, then I get 5.125. Okay. Got it. Is that making sense? I wasn't sure who said the original, but.
Why is it 0.5 instead of 0.25?
Because that's my current location. So you're always looking at your current X coordinate. The only time you'll use delta X is to figure out your new X coordinate. I'll get this in a nice algorithm for us so that it's a little more well organized, because I'm kind of just like talking it through right now. But are you with me that this is where we're at? So I'm just using this, Olivia, as my X coordinate here. And then my Y coordinate was this 2.3125 here.
So is that you only do that when you're finding the slope?
Yes.
And then you go back to the delta X?
The delta X just tells me what's my next X coordinate. Yeah, and the delta X also kicks in. So there's two things. I use this to find my slope at my point, and then I multiply that by the delta X to figure out what the change in Y is for a change in X at my fixed rate with that slope. So we got 5.125. And we're gonna stop there because I wanna get this a little more well organized for us all up here and give you a nice solid algorithm to look at. So what we can say at this point is that an estimate for the solution Y at the point 0.5, in other words, what is the Y value of the solution when X is 0.5, is 5.125. Let me get my little app going here. Oh my God, I'm logged on. Okay, cool. I don't think I ever logged off. And everybody's been using my account since last Wednesday. Let's take a look here together. I'll show you an app, and I've got a nice little Euler's method app that we can verify our work here and then actually understand this a little bit better. Euler's method app. Man, I tell you, I hope you never get double vision. I hope that, I wish that for all of you sincerely right now. Euler's method, interactive, let's try that. There we go. Oh, CoCalc, I think, nope, that's the garbage one I didn't like. This one might be this Casio calculator. Boy, that looks terrible.
Is it the MathLets one that you put on the shirt?
No, oh, yes. What is that one called?
Mathlets.org.
Mathlets.org, thank you. And I didn't even spell interactive, right? So mathlets like this, .org, thanks Cassie. Yeah, because I did put a link on there. Oh, it's MIT, yes. Quite beautiful. Oh, now I'm happy, except this one's garbage. It doesn't let me put in my own function. You son of a gun. one more. I gotta try another one. Euler's method. Interactive app. Let's try that. Okay, I don't want to have to compile it. Is this maybe a different one? No, that's the same garbage one. Oh, GeoGebra. They always have something good for me. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's enter our function f of x here. So it's x plus 2y. And I'll put this app up on our site for us. Cassie, would you do me a favor and just write down, could you do me a favor? Sorry, you're slowly becoming like my helper. That's it, but would you just shoot me an email that says GeoGebra, Euler's method, thank you. And then I'll put that out for everybody. Okay, cool, so we do that. Hit enter and wunderbar. Okay, so we keep going. Where does it have the new y values? Oh, the initial condition. I was like looking at these values over here. It doesn't look anything like ours. So let's move this to 1, 0. There we go. I think, is that 2.3? That's looking pretty good right there. So, yeah, that looks not right. Not right. Oh, it does. 5.13. Okay, cool. It's just the way this table's written, so I have to make it a little bigger. That's the problem. They're not showing all the information right away. But here's what's happening. Let's pull this down so you can see that a little bit better. So here they're doing exactly what we just did. The computer's doing it. So I've got delta x, my change in x from point to point is 0.25. That's my slope formula. And here's a table not quite like ours, but notice we're seeing a lot of the same values here. So when x was 0 and y was 1, the slope was 2, and the change in y was 1/2. And so we added that to 1, and we got our new y value, 1.5. And we incremented the x value by delta x. So that just, this guy here, this x just keeps kicking like a clock, 0.25. This y value changes depending on the slope at this current point. So it looks to me like, what did we get? 5.125. So,
They just
man.
rented it.
If something seems a little,
They rented it off to the.
Yeah. yeah, but their y value, what did I screw something up? Where did the 5.125 come from? Well, I gotta look back at my notes real quick.
You're fine. Our
Oh, is
Y
it?
was 2.3125. They just cut it off at the second decimal point.
Okay.
So it just looks a little odd.
Okay, yeah, so this is what's disturbing me, Cassidy. Oh, we didn't go that far.
Yeah.
That's right, okay, yeah. Okay, very good. So now, what do you think I need to do to get a better approximation? What do you always do in calculus?
Small.
Smaller. So if I wanted a finer approximation, I would just decrement this delta x. So let's go to 0.1 and enter. And now I'm getting the better estimates, but to get to 1/2, I have to do 5 different iterations. So you get a better estimate, but each time it's going to require more and more work. If we wanted, ultimate work, if we had a computer slave for us to do this, then it would look, yay, it's a solution curve. So this looks like the stuff we were seeing on those, where you click and it makes a nice, beautiful, smooth curve. All it's doing is Euler's method at such a fine resolution that you really can't see the polygonal nature of it all. So let me address Shelby's question that you all didn't hear, I think, or maybe you did. Shelby was asking me about an example I did last class.
Tom,
What did, oh, sorry, sorry, you killed me, sorry. That's good. That's good.
It's like, what's
Yes.
a close name to Tim?
That's good. That's really good. Oh,
It's okay, it happens a lot.
I apologize.
You're okay.
You know I know your name.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, some people call me Dr. Gray.
Alright, listen. We're even now.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think you might be one up on me, but we're okay. We're okay. Where the hell's my pen? That's pretty good. My wife has this client in prison. He's on death row. He's like one of the last people to be on death row in Colorado. And he's actually a really lovely person. Like, he was involved in, he got in a bad situation, got in with some bad people, made some bad choices. And it wasn't actually the person that committed the murder, but was still put on death row for it. And his name is Rob. And he's written children's books. Like, he writes children's books now. It's amazing. But he called me, and he wrote her a letter, and he referred to me as Tom. And so I call him Rib. And he loves it. Like, he loves it. Okay, so Kelby asked about this one. Help me think, was it X plus 2 then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're looking for here, and let's say we had an initial condition, let's say y or x, because this is an x and t problem. So this means derivative of x with respect to t. So this is a slope of some function that's x of t, independent variable is t. This is the slope that is dependent upon the value of the function at x. So this is actually the output value of x. So these are really different ways of thinking about functions. Now I gotta put these back on because now there's two Kelbys. So this is the output value of the function, not the independent variable. So it's a really different way of just processing this information and actually representing the information. It's saying the slope of this function is always determined by its output at some particular point. So let's say, for example, that I had x at 0 equals 1, and I wanted to use this Euler's method to get a sense of what the solution acted like. So first off, x at 0 equals 1, right here. So that's the point 0, 1. And let's say I was using delta t equals 0.5. That's pretty sloppy, but just for the sake of understanding this. What is my slope right here? Can you all tell me? What's the slope of the solution at 0, 1? What was it? I heard it.
0.
0. Because the x coordinate is 1, right? So here, t sub 0 is 0. X sub 0 is 1. And this doesn't even mention t, so the slope will always depend on this one. Here, the x coordinate. When you put in 1, you get a slope. Let's put m0. The slope at the 0th state is 1 times 0 times 3. So you're absolutely right. So it's 0. So for this one, if I was Euler methoding this to 0.5, it says originally just kick straight across. What is the slope? So my next point, let's get this down here. So T1, what's T1? All the information we need, right? Here. 0.5. Because this is what I'm kicking by, right? That's the clock that's running, the delta t. So this is just delta t. I move to the right. So T1, let's write it out here. T1 is T naught plus delta t. I'm going to start building the algorithm. I'll give you a damn algorithm before you leave today. X1 is equal to the old x plus the current slope times delta t. So x1 is going to equal 1 plus, 0 times 0.5, and that's 1. So and then, let's see, did I already say delta t is, t1 equals 0 plus 0.5 equals 0.5. So I've got t1 equals 0.5, x1 equals 1. Where do I go next? What's my next slope? So here's our current x value. Here's my current t value. There's my slope function up above. What's my current x value? 1. So what's my current slope? 0 again. Is this surprising that it says to go to the right again? No, why not?
I mean, x minus 1. If you have a 1, it's going to
Yeah, so x equals 1 is a what kind of solution? What do you call it? Because it never changes? Equilibrium solution. So x equals 1 is one of the equilibrium solutions because the slope is always 0. And once you're on there, there's no change at all. What are the other equilibrium solutions?
-2, 0.
-2 and 0, because when x is -2, its slope is always 0, you never change. If you're doing this Euler method, you're always just cruising horizontal. Is this pulling, are some things kind of coming together? I know I haven't given you an algorithm yet, but I'm gonna do that just right now. And then we'll pick this back up on Monday and practice some more. And maybe I'll actually give you one to try over the weekend. And then we can talk about it on Monday. Let me write an algorithm for you. Kelby, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, then I have a follow-up question, but that can be after.
Okay, cool. The worst part of this all is that now that SH is for some reason like blocked. I keep like having to knock it out of the way. It sucks. I've never had that problem with
It's
you.
okay.
And it's terrible. I'm scarred. Okay, so let's just get a nice algorithm up here. Euler's method for approximating a solution to the initial value problem let's do it in y and x. I'll write an equivalent x and t version of that. I could see being a little confusing, and I think that Kelby, probably the change of the x and t was a little confusing to you as well. We're so used to x being an independent variable that when it becomes dependent, it messes with our heads. F of x, y, with x at, or y at x naught equals y naught. Okay, so, first off, we need to be given, so we need to be given our delta x. You can't produce this. This has to be established. The precision of your solution is given to you, or you decide it. So this determines precision. All right, so first thing we're going to do is find our current slope. And let's write this in kind of a general way. So at point x sub I, y sub I, find your current slope, f of x sub I, y sub I. So you literally plug that into this right-hand side. Your current point goes in here. There's going to be like a for loop if you're a computer person on the outside, but don't worry about that yet. Find our current slope. Update the x coordinate, and that's going to be x sub I plus 1 equals the current x plus delta x. So you can think of this I, x sub I equals, or the I equals current, I plus 1 equals next. That's a great way to think of this. And I could be putting this all in terms of subcurrent and subnext. So update the x coordinate, update the y coordinate. So my next y coordinate is equal to my current y coordinate plus my current slope. Let's actually call this m sub I so we can put it down here and really emphasize. So this computation here that you get out of here, call it m sub I, plus m sub I times delta x. That's the algorithm. So next point equals x sub I plus 1, y sub I plus 1. Let this be your current point and go back to the top. Let this be current point and loop up to here. Find your current slope with that new point. Is this algorithm making sense? I could try to make it a little clearer. I could write it in terms of next and current, if that would help.
I'm just gonna clarify. So
Yes, please.
you take your current x and plus it by 1, and then you take your current y and plus it by 1.
No, be careful with that. So that plus 1 is on the index. It's like which point I'm at. So let me write this in terms of current and next, and I think it'll make it a lot clearer for you. So let's do that. So this algorithm, because that's how I think of it, and that's why I was like holding off on this, because I was letting this process in my head so that I could try to make it reasonable. But here's a great way to do this algorithm in terms of current and next. So at current point x, how about I just say now, y sub now, so I don't have to write current every time, just less letters, right? Works. X sub next equals x sub now plus delta x to y sub next equals y sub now plus f of, and here's where you gotta be careful, use the current values, f of x now and y of f now. And I'm making this even a little slicker. I'm not putting as many steps in there, times delta x. That's it. And step 3 is, plot x next, comma y next. You can plot that point, maybe join a line segment between it and x current. So right now, something like this. Here's x now. Here's y now. That's where I started. And then here's x current next. Here's y next. And I put a dot there and I draw a little line between them. And the difference between these two is delta x. Plot that. Step 4, let x now equal x next. Y now equal y next. Go to 1. That go to, I don't even know if programming languages use that shit anymore, but do they? Any programmers do still use go-tos? Like back in the day when I was programming at home for recreation on my Commodore 64, go-to was the thing. In the basic language, it was like go-to, and you said to a line number, no one could figure out what your code was doing at all. It was just spaghetti.
just strands of spaghetti nested together crazily. So that's a lovely algebra. So what I would like you to try for Monday, this is not to be collected, but it would be to your advantage to try this. So for Monday, do 4 iterations, that's all, of Euler's method with, let's see, let me grab a chill one out of here.
Is that what this is for?
Oh, yes. Yes, that is what this is for, Kendra. Yeah. So I would use, if you notice, the second table is the YX one, the first table is the TX one, so you can use one of these tables to maybe help this out. Even though I haven't quite explained it this way, I might like make freaking new tables for us. Because sometimes, I don't know if it's, sometimes I just create stuff on the spot, and that's what just happened. I had no idea that was what was going to be created. Earlier today, I thought this would be what we do. It's the same shit, it's just different lettering and names for things. But here, real straightforward. So let's just say y prime equals, so dy dx equals x minus 2y, and we have y at 0 equals, let's see, I want to make sure this works out. Yeah, this will work out 1. We did y minus 2, x minus 2y?
No, we did plus.
We did plus, so yeah, I didn't want it to be too different than what you've done, and this will change it drastically enough, Olivia, that it'll be worth your while. If you want it to be more different, I'm happy to, but I think this will be fun enough.
Yeah.
This one's gonna go down as opposed to going up, like the other one. All right, so give that a shot, and that's the first thing we'll talk about. Yes,
Did
ma'am.
we get the change value, the delta?
Oh, thanks, Kendra. Solid. Kendra, so use, thank you, ma'am, because I did say
It
you
needs-
needed that. Yeah, it did. What the hell, bro? Oh God, let's just do delta x equals 1.
Cool.
Oh shit, yeah, this is good. That'll make life easy. Yes, ma'am.
What is the word after 4?
Iteration.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like inter-revolution. I was like, what?
interrevolution sounds pretty cool.
So we're gonna do that this one time? And then
Uh,
we're gonna do this.
Yeah, I would do it, I would use the second one on there, Lou, because the first one's like for TX,
Yeah,
the bottom one's for XY.
so we do that, instead of 4 iterations.
Yeah,
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, is it 1,
Correct.
2, 3, 4?
no, in one table, it's in one table, four reps.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. What, is someone else asking something?
Yeah, I
Yes.
had a question, but I figured it out.
Wow.
Well, I was looking at the GeoGebra site, and
Yeah.
I was plugging in like the x minus 1, x plus 2, and it was vertical, but that was because it was in respect to dy over dx, not dx over dy.
Yes. Awesome.
That was all. I was
Awesome.
like, does that seem right? Like, what's going on?
No, it's cool. I'm glad, like, it's because you care. That
Yes.
that you're like, this
And I
doesn't
was
make
like,
sense.
Maybe yeah.
Yeah.
I was like looking at it like it was a polynomial almost.
Okay, wait,
Oh,
hold
yeah.
on. Name stuff, we're all good.
We're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, see you, Shelby.
Still don't get,
Mhm.
like, I get all this.
Mhm.
I still don't get like, so, Carly,
Would you mind
It's on
stopping
Friday.
that for me, please?
The exam, yeah.
So, like,
He's gonna be gone.
Yeah, I should.
And then I